What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 23 of Spud Ball. And today we are talking about what Liverpool's team will look like next season. Could Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent all leave for free, and will that affect Liverpool's future? With Trent already set to leave, that is, of course. We're going to be looking at which players I think will be leaving Liverpool in the summer, and which players will be potentially coming in, and slash which players I would like to see come in. Now, I've been as realistic as possible. We're not going to pretend this is a FIFA career mode. We're not going to be bringing in 15 new players. It doesn't work like that. It's football. It's real life. If you're new, though, please do drop a like on the video. It's really appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. Let me know who down below you think Liverpool will sign this season. Even if you're not a Liverpool fan or not, I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So we're going to do this position by position, and then at the end I've got my A team and my B team, and this is basically what I want the team to look like next season, the squad. Will it look like that? Obviously not. I mean, the last player that I put in the team that we didn't have any links to that actually joined was Szoboszlai. And obviously I know he hasn't got as many goals as we might have wanted, but he's obviously been a really important part of this Liverpool team, even though rival fans don't see that. Right. Well, we'll get straight into it now, because we're going to start with the goalkeepers. And we are going to be starting with, obviously, the player that we've already signed for next season anyway, Georgi Mamardashvili, who is set to be Alisson's long-term successor. And it's an interesting one. I think for around 25 million, it's a good price. But he's not had the best of seasons for Valencia. Obviously, got a clean sheet against Mallorca last night, which is good. But he's not had like a phenomenal campaign. He was obviously really good at the Euros for Georgia. Had two absolutely superb performances against Portugal and Czech Republic, I think it was, which got them to the last 16. And obviously Kelleher only has 1 year left in his deal. He's wanted a new team. He's wanted to leave for a few years so he could get first team football. So I expect him to go probably 20 million is fair. He's had a good season when he's played. But he's never going to be number one at Liverpool, I don't think. And Yaros as well, his contract runs out. So obviously that's two homegrown player spots gone, I'm pretty sure. So we would have to, obviously, Harvey Davies, who's fourth choice keeper, might become the third choice keeper. And obviously Mamardashvili will be coming in. Now, I think Mamardashvili should be getting all the cup minutes and even maybe some Champions League minutes. But Alisson should have the Premier League games and the tough Champions League games. But we need to give Mamardashvili the game time. I don't think we're going to loan him out. I think he'll stay in the squad. I hope he does anyway. Right, now we're going to talk right backs because this is probably one of the most important ones to talk about. So obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold is leaving on a free. If you want my opinion on it, there used to be a Trent Alexander-Arnold signed for here. Not anymore. That's all I'll say on that guy. So obviously Connor Bradley's a great player, but we also need someone that can come in and do the job because Bradley can get injured, like he is currently injured. My number one pick is very unrealistic, and it is Jed Spence. He's actually my number one choice for right back. I think he's a brilliant player, but it won't happen. So I'm not including him in my squads. I like Jeremy Frimpong as a player, but he's not a right back. Obviously, Alexander-Arnold's defensive work was very poor, and Kanate had to bail him out a lot, and obviously, like, Matip has had to bail him out in the past, and Joe Gomez, and Van Dijk. So, could that be another situation where Frimpong's the same player as Trent, but actually will give more of an effort, potentially, at defensive work? I don't know. But then we've got three other players. Now, Gavario Reed is probably my choice. That's my realistic choice out of the players we've been linked with currently, which isn't many. He's 18, he plays for Feyenoord. He's having a really good breakout season for Feyenoord. So obviously, Slot has had him in his squad before. I think he made 1 or 2 appearances. But yeah, I think that this guy, he's 18. I think he's got really good potential. And I've seen some of his highlights and he looks really good. Now, I know he's playing in the Dutch league, but he could definitely be one to look out for. Now, I've never heard of this Martin Fernandes guy until recently. Watched the compilation, looked pretty good. Porto fans talk about how good he is. He's again another young right back. This guy's only 19. And then this was kind of my own choice, my own like potential pick is Kylian Sildilia. He's the right back for Freiburg, but he has got a bit of an injury record, and we can't really be dealing with 2 injury-prone right backs. So we'll have to see on that. But look, I do think there's definitely a possibility that it's Jeremy Frimpong, and I would not be against that. But he's not really a right back. I mean, he plays right wing for the Netherlands, so Centre backs is definitely an interesting one. We'll talk about the outgoings first. Obviously, there was rumours of Newcastle linked again with Jarell Quansah, but Liverpool don't want to sell him. He does need to get more game time. I know he's probably going to play against Everton at right back, but because I'm recording this on Monday night, obviously the game's on Wednesday. But he obviously played right back in the Carabao Cup final, played right back when he came on because Trent and Bradley are injured. I like Jarell Quansah. I think he's a very good centre back. I think he's unfairly treated by some Liverpool fans on the internet. Joe Gomez has been a brilliant servant for the club, but obviously I think this might be his time to leave. I think he wanted to leave in the summer. I could see about 35 million for Joe Gomez. I think he's a brilliant player, versatile, but he might want to move on. And I think Nat Phillips as well, 5 million if we can get that would be good. Now, these are the three centre backs I think we're going to be linked with heavily in the next few weeks, in the next few months, sorry. Dean Huijsen has that 50 million release clause. Real Madrid are linked. If Real Madrid activate, he's going there, obviously. Chelsea, I think, will be one of the favourites to get him. But I am interested to see if Liverpool do push for Dean Huijsen. 50 million release clause is a bargain. I actually did say that these opportunistic signings that Liverpool were meant to make, and they only signed Chiesa and Mamardashvili, Huijsen looked genuinely really good at Roma, and he was 13 million, and it was crazy. And Bournemouth took it, and then now he's got a 50 million release clause, and that's going to be activated in the summer. Brilliant, brilliant centre back. I think he could be Van Dijk's successor in the long term. That's why I want him. I don't expect him to play game in, game out this season, but out of the other two options, Dean Huijsen can be Van Dijk's long term successor, and he's still a teenager. Schlotterbeck, I think, would be a very good centre back for Liverpool, and I like him more than Mark Gahey. But I do think Mark Gahey, with 1 year left in his contract, could be a very interesting player and one to watch. I think he's an upgrade on Joe Gomez, but is he an upgrade on Van Dijk and Konate? No. Dean Huijsen, though, I think could share the minutes with Konate potentially. Right, left backs now. Milos Kerkez is my number one pick that I want at Liverpool this season. After this season, I've needed Liverpool. I think Liverpool have needed a new left back for a couple of seasons now. Obviously, they need 16 points from the last 9 to win the Premier League. An amazing achievement, but left back has to be looked at instantly. Simicast, I think 20 million might be way too much, to be honest. But obviously, if Liverpool win the league, we might be able to get that type of money. We've been good at getting like money for players that aren't worth as much as we get. But maybe 15 million is fair. And I think Owen Beck will also leave. But Milos Kerkez, it looks like he's going to be about 45 million pound. That is a lot for a left back. But for me, he has been the best left back in the Premier League this season. Him or Anthony Robinson, probably. And I think Liverpool should pay this because he can be Liverpool's next left back for at least the next 5 years. He reminds me of a young Andy Robertson, funnily enough. I think Robertson should stay 1 more year and then his contract runs out. Because I don't think we'd be able to get 20 million for him. So I think Liverpool should hopefully do that. Bring Kerkez in. He can learn off Robertson, but obviously Kerkez would be first choice. Obviously, he's very good friends with Dominic Szoboszlai. The Hungarian connection can also help there. And he speaks English anyway, and he has Premier League experience. Literally every single thing that you would want to talk about Milos Kerkez, he doesn't get injured much either, or at all. It's literally a 10 out of 10 signing for Liverpool if we make it. If we make it. So, pivot player slash DM. I don't think we're going to bring in a new midfielder. I know Liverpool fans want them, but I can't see us bringing in a player that can play in the pivot. I think we're actually going to let two go. Tyler Morton and James McConnell. They don't really play anywhere. McConnell's obviously... They've had a few games. Tyler Morton's injured, obviously. I think he should have left in the summer, but obviously didn't go through. If we can get 12 million for him, I think he's a good player. He's England under 21 player. That'd be good. I think McConnell could do with a nice loan to a middle-sized championship club, probably. See what he can do there. But Stefan Bajcetic, I'm a big fan of. I think he should be in the squad, not the first 11, obviously, but I think he's also versatile. He can play centre back. He can play right back. I think he would be a really important part of this team now. Obviously, could Wataru Endo leave? I hope he doesn't because I think he's a really good part of the squad and he comes on and does his job. But if Endo was to leave, Stefan Bajcetic comes in. I would not have an issue with us just doing that. But obviously, if we were to lose Morton, McConnell and Endo, we would have to bring in another DM. Who would we bring in? I don't know. I don't really think there's anyone out there that, catches my eye. But yeah, Bajcetic is a brilliant player. Attacking midfielders. Now, we were actually going to talk about someone else, but I don't think we're going to actually sign an attacking midfielder. But when you see my A team and B team, I'm basically seeing a situation where Harvey Elliott might get more minutes on the right again next season. But yeah, I don't think we're going to sign an attacking midfielder. If we were to sign one, people talk about Ryan Cherky. I think he's a great player, but I can't see Liverpool going for him. Obviously, Xavi Simons is a player I really like, but will he get the? Is he really a Liverpool player? I'm not too sure on that. I think Anyoni could do with a really nice loan here. I would say to a high-end championship team because I think this kid has a lot of talent, but we'll have to see what happens with him. Right wing, we're going to talk a bit about. So Mo Salah is not on the out list. I'm going to pray to the Lords that he stays, him and Van Dijk. Ben Doak, on the other hand, I don't think his end product will improve enough to be a Liverpool player. I think Liverpool will sell Ben Doak, but he's not part of the team anyway. I think we're going to lose two attackers, senior attackers, and bring in one, potentially. Maybe two, but I'm going to say one. Um, so yeah, I think if we could get around 25 million for Doak, because I think someone bid, Palace or Ipswich bid 20 in January. If we can get 25, I think we should take it. He's a good dribbler, and I think he'll cause defenders issues, but will he cause an issue that'll lead to a goal? Probably not. His end product isn't very good. It never has been. But he's still a young kid, but he's had a few injuries. So if we could get that much money for him, I think that's solid. Right, now we're going to talk striker, which is probably the second most important part of the video. We all know about Darwin Núñez. So we're going to talk Darwin Núñez first. If we could get about £50 million for him, that would be amazing, but that's probably a bit too high, maybe 40. He's flopped massively. His second season at Liverpool was alright. His first and his third weren't good enough. Liverpool obviously paid £80 million for him, around £80 million. He's a flop, ultimately. Probably the worst signing in Liverpool's history in terms of how much they paid for him. I mean, Calvin Ramsey's up there, and that was in the same summer. Uh, yeah, it's never going to work out for Núñez. He's obviously had a few good moments at the Newcastle game at St James's Park with the late brace against Brentford, the goal against Nottingham Forest. You know, he's had a few good moments, but he's not the player that Liverpool fans expected to get. Jadon Danns, obviously, he's gone on loan to Sunderland. He can't play a game because he's still injured. He needs a loan, definitely. Right, striker. Now, I've put Jonathan David on there as a free. That's just an unrealistic one, of course, but you never know. I would want him with this obviously the big striker. Alexander Isak is not happening. Get this in your head, Liverpool fans. Obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan myself. Alexander Isak is not leaving Newcastle to join Liverpool. £150 million. Do you think Liverpool will pay £150 million for Alexander Isak? Not a chance. Right, let's go through the other list of strikers. Gyökeres, Liverpool are linked. Looks like Arsenal want him. Šeško, I don't really want. Matheus Cunha is a great player, but he's got a really bad attitude. My first choice, and he's obviously got the golden glow, just like Milos Kerkez, is Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, there's a few Liverpool fans saying, oh, his XG's bad compared to what he's scored. Yeah, he's missed a couple of penalties. Not ideal, just don't put him on penalties for Liverpool. Simple. Great player, in my opinion. I've watched him a few times now against Ajax in the Europa League. He kind of roams, and I think that's what Slot wants. He's a striker that will roam, he'll cover a lot of distance. He gets goals, he gets assists. Obviously had a brilliant partnership with Omar Mamouche. Now, obviously, this is Ekitike's best season so far, but he's still only 22. He'd be 23, realistically, if he joined Liverpool. If he joined Liverpool in the summer, he'd be 23 when the season started. A young striker, and I know Núñez was young when Liverpool signed him as well. Some people are saying Liverpool need the ready package now. Alexander Isak is not for sale. Why do people not understand this? They're not going to say, oh, you can have him, actually. Now, obviously, if Newcastle don't make Champions League, that could have an impact, but I think they will probably get top 5. The other player I've actually mentioned here now, it's a risky one because he has had a couple of injuries. Now, I'm thinking we keep Diogo Jota now. I can't see us selling Núñez, Diaz and Jota. And I also want Federico Chiesa to stay. We'll talk about Federico Chiesa shortly, though. Victor Osimhen having a great season in Galatasaray. Yeah, it's Turkish league, but he was obviously doing really well at Napoli. I would not be against Liverpool getting him for about £60 million. I really don't think it would be that bad of a player to get. I think he's a great striker. But he has had a couple of injuries, but he's keeping pretty fit in Turkey, so you never know with Victor Osimhen. He's obviously was really close to joining Chelsea in the summer. Let's just see what happens with him. But yeah, Ekitike is my first choice, and I know people are going to say, oh, it's not Isak. It's just being realistic, guys. Right, left wingers. So in is none. Out, Luis Kumas on a loan, and Luis Diaz for about 55 million. I think Luis Diaz will be in the Saudi Pro League come the end of the summer transfer window, but we'll have to see what happens on that. Right, so basically, Federico Chiesa, brilliant player, deserves more of a chance. I think Slot's been very stubborn. I've said this before the cup final. I think he's better than Luis Diaz. I think he's better than Diogo Jota at the moment, and I also think he's better than Darwin Núñez. Now, if you're going to play Gakpo, Chiesa, Salah, fine. If Chiesa has a few games up front and he doesn't do that well, at least give him the opportunity to try. Because it's ridiculous the lack of game time he's had because he's been on the bench a lot now this season. It's not even like he was. I know he was injured for a couple of months, trying to get up to the fitness stuff and that, but no, he has to play more now. So we'd be selling two attackers and probably bringing in one. That would give us five attackers. I could see Harvey Elliott getting more game time on the right-hand side as well. You could argue we have six. Dominic Szoboszlai can play on the left. You could argue we've got enough attackers there. If we bring in Bajcetic as well, that's an extra player. That's an extra midfielder, which means that Szoboszlai or Jones or whatever, if Slot wanted to do the 4-2-4 again with Slot and Jones, you can do that. Have one less attacker on the pitch. I think if we have one extra midfielder in Bajcetic, one less attacker in Núñez or Diaz, let's say. Five attackers, yeah, Chiesa's had injury problems, Jota's injury prone, but I think that would be okay. But we'll have to just see, ultimately. So this is kind of what I would want Liverpool A to look like. So it would be Alisson, Kirkic, Van Dijk, Konate, Bradley, Alexis McAllister, Gravenberch, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, Salah, and Hugo Ekitike. So it would only be two changes, but it would only be two new players in the A team. But obviously there would be new players in the B team, which will show you there's obviously going to be three extra players in the B team. So the B team would obviously have, it would be Mamardashvili, Robertson, Dean Huijsen, Quansah, Givario Reid, Endo, Bajcetic, Chiesa, Jones, Elliott, Jota. Obviously not as good as the A team, that's expected. Obviously, if we had Dean Huijsen, he wouldn't just be sitting on the bench all game. You know, there would definitely be times where they would play Van Dijk Huijsen, even maybe Huijsen Konate or Huijsen Quansah, depending on the competition. I think it would give Slot more of a chance to rotate. Givario Reid would learn off Bradley. I think Givario Reid's an interesting one. I think if Liverpool have to sign a right back to replace Trent, I don't think they will sign Givario Reid, but I think there's a possibility. Obviously with the Feyenoord connection, but we'll have to see. I get that it might not be like the most exciting depth, but if you look here, if Gakpo got injured, we put Chiesa or Jota in left wing, it looks fine. If McAllister got injured, we can put Jones there, we could put Endo there, we could put Bajcetic there. We've got options. We'd have six midfielders, obviously six attackers if we moved Elliott onto the right. Four centre backs, two right backs, two left backs, three keepers. Yeah, we might sign a third choice keeper. That's the only thing I will say before I end this. We might definitely sign a third choice keeper. But if we did, it has to be a homegrown player. Givario Reid, obviously being young, same as Dean Huijsen, they would not be taking non-homegrown spots. Ekitike would. Kirkic would. Not, I don't think. Kirkic wouldn't for his first season. Mamardashvili obviously will take one up. We do need to get some homegrown players in. So Mark Gahey definitely could be a possibility. Jeremy Frimpong, by the way, guys, does count as homegrown because he's part of Man City's academy. Do not get it twisted. If Jeremy Frimpong was to join Liverpool, he would probably go in the A team ahead of Bradley Just. It would probably be Bradley in the B team, Frimpong in the A team. But yeah, I think right back will be Frimpong or Reid, to be honest. And I think left back will be Kirkic. I don't know if we'll even go for... Well, we have to go for someone else. I think we might go Jarell Hato from Ajax if we don't get Kirkic. If we don't get Dean Huijsen, I think it'll be Schlotterbeck or Gahey, especially if Dortmund don't get UCL football this season. If we don't get Ekitike or Osherman, I definitely see a possibility where we go for Benjamin Šeško, which I really don't like as an option. And yeah. So how many players would that actually be that we'd bring in? 5, including Mamardashvili? So it's not really... That's quite realistic, I think, for a rebuild. 5 players in and quite a few out. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know down below what you think. Also, I will say this. If Liverpool keep Van Dijk and Salah, and the recruitment is spot on, and the team look like this, I genuinely believe Liverpool could win the Premier League next year. I'm obviously hoping to win it this year. I've got good faith that they'll do it, but I'm always a bit nervous. They should do it now. The last... That 3-game spell where Arsenal got 2 points, Liverpool got 9, I think has fully swayed it now. It's not even close, but I'm always negative. I do think, though, that this could win the Premier League next year. I really do believe this. I think Man City's recruitment has to be spot on, and they've got to get used to these new players that they're going to sign in the summer. Obviously, Arsenal, they'll bring in a striker, um, and probably a new midfielder as well, and maybe a new winger. They're probably going to be Liverpool's highest threat. In my opinion, next season, I think it'll be Liverpool versus Arsenal again. If the recruitment's right for Liverpool and Salah and Van Dijk stay. If Salah and Van Dijk don't stay, top four would be an achievement. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.